There comes a moment in every person's life that no one else can see. It doesn't happen with fireworks. It doesn't happen with applause. It doesn't happen when the world suddenly decides to believe in you. It happens in complete silence. A moment so small that nobody notices it. Except you. It's the moment when you finally get tired. Not tired from working, not tired from chasing your dreams, but tired of living the same life over and over again. Tired of promising yourself that tomorrow will be different, only to wake up and repeat yesterday. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you've looked around your room, your apartment, your job, your bank account, and quietly asked yourself, is this really all my life is going to be? Most people ignore that question. They distract themselves. They open social media. They watch another show. They convince themselves everything is fine, but deep inside, they know something is missing. Because every human being was born with something powerful. Potential. Potential isn't money. Potential isn't talent. Potential is possibility. It's the quiet voice inside you that whispers, you were made for more. The tragedy is not that people fail. The tragedy is that millions of people never even try. They spend their entire lives waiting for motivation, waiting for confidence, waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting until Monday, waiting until next month, waiting until next year, and before they realize it, life has already passed them by. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Your future is being created today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Every decision you make, every habit you repeat, every excuse you accept, every challenge you avoid, they are all writing your future. Imagine your life as a book. Every morning you wake up, you write another page. The question is, are you writing a story you'll be proud to read? Or are you writing the same chapter again and again and again? Most people don't need a new dream. They need new habits, because dreams without habits remain dreams. Think about the strongest building you've ever seen. It wasn't built in one day. It wasn't built because someone wished for it. Brick by brick, day after day. It became something incredible. Your life works exactly the same way. Every workout is another brick. Every book you read is another brick. Every difficult conversation is another brick. Every promise you keep to yourself is another brick. One day, people will look at your life and call you lucky, but they won't see the thousands of invisible bricks you laid when nobody was watching. That's the price of greatness. People admire success, but they rarely admire the process, because the process is uncomfortable. It's lonely. It's repetitive. It's exhausting. And that's exactly why most people quit. They mistake discomfort for failure. But discomfort isn't failure. Discomfort is proof that you're growing. The muscles burn before they become stronger. The mind struggles before it becomes wiser. The person changes long before the results appear. That's why you must learn to trust the process. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it right now. Someone else is waking up early while others are sleeping. Someone else is reading while others are scrolling. Someone else is building a business while others are making excuses. The question isn't, can I become successful? The real question is, am I willing to become the person success requires? Because success demands discipline. It demands patience. It demands consistency. And above all, it demands responsibility. The day you stop blaming your past, your parents, your circumstances, your bad luck, is the day your real life begins, because responsibility is freedom. The moment you say, my life is my responsibility, you take back your power. And no longer are you waiting for someone to rescue you. You become your own hero, and that's where everything changes. Everything changes the moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single question can change your entire life. Because every challenge carries a lesson. Every setback carries a message. Every painful experience is shaping a stronger version of you. Think back to the hardest season of your life. At the time. It probably felt unfair. It probably felt impossible. You questioned everything. You doubted yourself. You wondered if things would ever get better. But look at yourself now. You're still here. You survived. And because you survived, you became stronger than you were before. Pain has a strange way of introducing us to our true potential. Most people never discover how strong they really are, because they quit the moment life becomes uncomfortable. But you have another choice. You can allow pain to destroy you. or you can allow pain to build you. The decision is always yours. The strongest people in the world aren't those who never struggle. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They fall, they learn, they stand back up, again, and again, and again, because they understand something that average people never do. Every failure is feedback. Every mistake is information. Every loss is preparation. Failure doesn't mean you're finished. Failure means you're learning. Imagine a child learning to walk. They don't stand up once and suddenly walk perfectly. They fall hundreds of times, yet nobody calls them a failure. Why? Because everyone expects the process. But somehow, when adults chase their dreams, they expect perfection from the very beginning. And when life knocks them down, they give up. Don't be that person. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. Give yourself permission to learn. Give yourself permission to improve, because mastery is never born overnight. It's earned through repetition. Success isn't about giant leaps. It's about tiny improvements repeated consistently. One extra page today. One extra workout today. One healthier meal today. One difficult conversation today. One brave decision today. These things seem insignificant, until one day they completely transform your life. Imagine two people, both start in exactly the same place. One chooses comfort every single day. The other chooses growth every single day. At first, there's almost no difference. After 1 month, still not much difference. After 1 year, the gap becomes obvious. After 5 years, they look like they lived completely different lives. Not because one got lucky, because one stayed consistent. Consistency is more powerful than talent. Talent can open a door. Consistency builds an empire. There will always be people smarter than you, people richer than you, people more experienced than you. Don't let that discourage you, because nobody can outwork a person who refuses to quit. Hard work beats excuses. Discipline beats motivation. Persistence beats talent. Every single time. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to your actions. The universe rewards movement, not intention. Millions of people have amazing ideas. Very few execute them. Don't spend your life becoming an expert at planning. Become an expert at doing. Take imperfect action. Learn. Adjust. Keep moving. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Your dream life will never be created by waiting until everything feels perfect. It will be created by acting while you're still afraid. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite fear. Remember this. Confidence is built after action, not before it. You don't become confident by sitting on the couch thinking about success. You become confident by keeping promises to yourself. Every promise you keep becomes another brick in your self-belief. Every promise you break weakens the trust you have in yourself. So start with small promises. Wake up when the alarm rings. Finish what you start. Exercise even when you don't feel like it. Read when everyone else is scrolling. Keep your word, especially to yourself, because the relationship you have with yourself determines every other relationship in your life. If you don't trust yourself, you'll hesitate. You'll doubt every decision. You'll constantly wonder if you're capable. But when you become someone who always follows through, you become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, because you become stronger. And strong people don't wait for perfect conditions. They create opportunities where others only see obstacles. The biggest transformation in your life will begin the moment you realize one simple truth. You are not trapped. You are not stuck forever. You are not defined by your past, the mistakes you made, the opportunities you missed, the times you failed. They are chapters of your story. They are not the ending. Too many people allow their past to become their identity. They say, I have always been this way. I've never been good at that. I could never achieve something like that. But those are not facts. Those are beliefs, and beliefs can change. The person you are today is not the person you have to be tomorrow. You have the power to rebuild yourself. You have the power to create a new version of you, but it starts with a decision that says, I am no longer accepting a life that is below my potential. That decision might not look powerful from the outside. Nobody will clap, nobody will celebrate, nobody may even notice, but inside you, something changes. A new fire begins, a new commitment is created, and from that moment, your life starts moving in a different direction. Because every great achievement begins with a choice, a choice to believe, a choice to act, a choice to continue. Look at anyone who has achieved something remarkable. Behind every success story, there was a moment when quitting would have been easier. Th. The world teaches you to chase inspiration, but inspiration is unpredictable. Some mornings you'll wake up feeling unstoppable. Other mornings, you'll question everything. You'll question your abilities. You'll question your purpose. You'll even question whether all your effort is worth it. That's why successful people don't build their lives around emotions. They build their lives around standards. A standard is something you refuse to negotiate with. You don't wake up and ask yourself if you feel like brushing your teeth. You simply do it. Imagine if your goals became that automatic. Imagine if working out wasn't a decision. Imagine if reading wasn't a decision. Imagine if showing up wasn't a decision. Imagine if excellence became your default. That's the real secret. The people who change their lives don't make better decisions every day. They build systems that make better decisions for them. Your morning routine is a system. Your evening routine is a system. The books you read, the people you spend time with, the content you consume, they're all building the person you are becoming. Whether you notice it or not, every environment is shaping you. Walk into a room full of people who complain, and eventually, you will start complaining. Walk into a room full of people who dream bigger, work harder, think differently, and suddenly, your own standards begin to rise. Energy is contagious. So choose carefully, because your future depends on who you allow into your mind. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people inspire growth, others feed fear. Some people challenge your excuses, others encourage them. Choose wisely. Your circle is either pulling you toward your future or dragging you back to your past, and sometimes the hardest decision isn't starting something new. It's walking away from what no longer serves you, walking away from toxic habits, walking away from negative thinking, walking away from people who only believe in the version of you that stayed small. Growth demands courage, because every new level of your life requires a new version of yourself. The person who earns $10,000 a year doesn't think the same way as the person who earns $1 million. The person who constantly complains doesn't think like the person who constantly creates. Success always begins in the mind, long before it appears in reality. Everything around you, every building, every company, every invention, every masterpiece, existed as a thought before it became real. That means your future also begins with a thought, a belief, a vision. Protect that vision. People will laugh, people will doubt you, some will even tell you that you're wasting your time. Let them, because the people who have never built anything will always criticize the people who are trying. Don't seek approval, seek progress. Approval fades. Progress lasts forever. Every day, ask yourself one question. What did I do today that my future self will thank me for? Maybe it was waking up early. Maybe it was saying no to distractions. Maybe it was finishing the task you wanted to avoid. Maybe it was simply refusing to quit. Celebrate those victories, because confidence grows through evidence. Every promise you keep becomes evidence. Every challenge you overcome becomes evidence. Every obstacle you survive becomes evidence. Evidence that you are stronger than yesterday. Never underestimate the power of momentum. Success loves momentum. The first workout leads to the second. The first book leads to the next. The first disciplined morning leads to another. Soon, the life that once felt impossible starts becoming normal. That's the magic of consistency. IT changes your identity. You stop saying, I'm trying to become disciplined. Instead, you become a disciplined person. You stop saying, I'm trying to be healthy. Instead, you become someone who values health. Identity always comes before lasting change, because people naturally act in alignment with who they believe they are. So stop asking, what do I need to achieve? Start asking, who do I need to become? Because once you become the right person, the results will eventually follow. Money follows value, respect follows character, success follows discipline, happiness follows purpose. Everything you want is connected to the person you're becoming today. So don't rush the process. A diamond isn't created overnight. It forms under pressure, and maybe that's exactly where you are right now, under pressure, feeling tested, feeling uncertain, feeling like life keeps pushing against you. Good. Pressure reveals strength. Pressure creates resilience. Pressure prepares leaders. The storm you're facing today may be preparing you for a responsibility you can't even imagine yet. So don't curse the struggle. Learn from it, grow through it, become because of it, because one day someone else will look at your life and they'll ask you, how did you become so strong? And you'll smile, because they'll only see the victory, they'll never see the thousands of silent battles that made you who you are today. The truth is, every great life is built in private before it is celebrated in public. People admire the trophy, but they never see the years of sacrifice. They admire the success, but they never witness the sleepless nights. They admire the confidence, but they never see the thousands of moments filled with fear, because success has always had a hidden side. The side where nobody is watching. The side where nobody is clapping. The side where no one believes in you except yourself. And that is where champions are made. You have to become comfortable with being misunderstood, because when you decide to change your life, not everyone will understand your decision. Some people will call you obsessed. Some will say you've changed. Some will even try to convince you to go back to the person you used to be. Don't let them. Growth often looks strange to people who have chosen comfort. Remember, not everyone is supposed to understand your vision, because God didn't give your dream to everyone. He gave it to you. That's why your responsibility is not to convince people. Your responsibility is to become the person capable of achieving that dream. And becoming that person requires sacrifice. You'll sacrifice comfort. You'll sacrifice entertainment. You'll sacrifice instant gratification. But what you're gaining is far greater. You're gaining freedom. You're gaining confidence. You're gaining respect for yourself. There is no greater feeling than looking in the mirror, knowing you kept your word, knowing you did the work, knowing you refused to quit. Self-respect cannot be bought. IT must be earned. Every disciplined action deposits confidence into your life. Every excuse withdraws it. Think of your confidence like a bank account. Every promise you keep is a deposit. Every challenge you overcome is a deposit. Every difficult decision you make is another deposit. Over time, you become emotionally wealthy. You stop depending on other people's opinions because your confidence is no longer built on compliments. It's built on evidence. Evidence that you've survived hard times. Evidence that you've stayed disciplined. Evidence that you've continued when quitting would have been easier. That's real confidence, not arrogance, not pretending. Real confidence is quiet. IT doesn't need attention. IT doesn't need validation because it already knows what it's capable of. One of the biggest lies society teaches is this: you have plenty of time. No, you don't. None of us know how much time we have. That's what makes every day valuable. Every sunrise is a gift. Every morning is another opportunity to become someone better. Don't waste it. Don't spend another year saying, I'll start someday. Someday is a dangerous word, because someday often becomes never. Successful people respect today's opportunities. Average people depend on tomorrow's promises. Which one will you become? The answer is being written, not next week, today. Look around your room. Everything you own, everything surrounding you, is the result of your past decisions. If you don't like what you see, good, because that means it's time to make different decisions. Different choices create different lives. Stop expecting change while repeating the same habits. That's impossible. If you want different results, become a different person. Wake up differently. Think differently. Speak differently. Act differently. React differently. Protect your peace differently. Protect your time differently. Protect your focus differently. Because where your attention goes, your life follows. Attention is your greatest currency. Every notification steals a little piece of it. Every unnecessary distraction takes away energy you'll never recover. Imagine if you invested every spare hour into becoming better. Reading, learning, building, creating, practicing. Who would you become after 1 year? Who would you become after 5 years? The answer is extraordinary, not because you're special, because consistency creates extraordinary people. Ordinary actions, repeated consistently, produce extraordinary results. You don't need extraordinary talent. You need extraordinary commitment. The difference is enormous. Talent gives you an advantage. Commitment gives you a future. There are talented people everywhere who never reached their potential, not because they lacked ability, because they lacked consistency. Never let talent become your excuse. Never let your current situation become your identity. The moment you decide, I will become better no matter how long it takes, you become dangerous to your excuses. Dangerous to your limitations, dangerous to every belief that once kept you small, Because now you are no longer hoping for change. You are creating it. Every sunrise, every workout, every book, every failure, every lesson, every disciplined decision. Brick by brick, day by day. You are building a life that once existed only in your imagination, and one day you'll wake up, look around, smile quietly to yourself. And when that day finally arrives, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget the mornings when getting out of bed felt impossible. Don't forget the nights when doubt kept you awake. Don't forget the moments when you wanted to quit, but didn't. Because those moments, those invisible battles, will become the foundation of your character. Character is built when nobody is watching. It's easy to stay disciplined when life is going your way. It's easy to smile when everything is working out. But what about the days when nothing goes according to plan? What about the days when you fail? The days when people disappoint you? The days when your progress feels invisible? Those are the days that define you. Anyone can stay committed when they're winning. Champions stay committed when they're losing. Because they understand something most people never will. Success is not built on your best days. It's built on the days you wanted to quit, but chose to continue anyway. That's where greatness lives. In ordinary moments, in ordinary mornings, in ordinary decisions. The world celebrates extraordinary achievements, but extraordinary achievements are simply the result of thousands of ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. Think about a sculptor. When you see the finished masterpiece, you admire the beauty, but you don't see the thousands of careful strikes with the hammer. You don't see the dust. You don't see the mistakes. You only see the final result. Your life is no different. Every disciplined choice, every sacrifice, every lesson, every failure, every setback, they're all shaping the masterpiece you're becoming. The process may feel slow, sometimes painfully slow. You'll wonder if anything is changing. You'll wonder if your effort even matters. It does, more than you realize. Because growth happens long before success becomes visible. A bamboo tree spends years growing underground before it breaks through the surface. For years, nothing appears to happen. People think nothing is changing. But beneath the ground, an enormous root system is being built. Then one day, it rises with incredible speed. People call it an overnight success. It wasn't overnight. It was years of invisible preparation. Your life is exactly the same. Every disciplined morning, you're growing roots. Every difficult decision, you're growing roots. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you're growing roots. Don't become discouraged just because nobody notices. The roots always come before the results. Remember, the strongest buildings have the deepest foundations. The tallest trees have the strongest roots. The greatest leaders have endured the hardest seasons. Nothing valuable is built without preparation. Nothing meaningful is achieved without patience. That's why patience is one of the rarest qualities in today's world. Everyone wants immediate success, immediate results, immediate recognition. But life doesn't work that way. Nature doesn't rush. A seed doesn't panic because it isn't a tree after 1 week. It simply continues growing. Maybe that's what you need to do. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop measuring your progress against people who started years before you. The only person you should compete with is the person you were yesterday. Become slightly wiser, slightly stronger, slightly kinder, slightly more disciplined. Those tiny improvements compound over time, 1% every day. That doesn't sound impressive until you realize that 1% every day completely transforms a life. Imagine where you'll be 1 year from now if you simply refuse to stop improving. Imagine the confidence you'll have, the knowledge you'll gain, the habits you'll build, the opportunities you attract. Not because luck finally found you, but because you finally became ready for them. Opportunity always favors preparation. People call successful individuals lucky, but luck usually arrives disguised as preparation meeting opportunity. When opportunity knocks, will you be ready? Will you have the discipline, the skills, the mindset? Or will you still be waiting for the perfect time to begin? There is no perfect time. There is only today. Today is enough. This moment is enough. The resources you have right now are enough to take the first step. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You only need enough courage to take the next step, because every incredible journey begins exactly the same way. One decision, one action, one day, and then another, and another, until one day you look back and realize the life you once dreamed about began with a single choice. The choice To never become the person who gives up the moment you decide that quitting is no longer an option. Something extraordinary begins to happen. Your mind stops searching for excuses and starts searching for solutions. That is the difference between people who remain average and people who create extraordinary lives. Average people ask, "Why is this so difficult?" Successful people ask, "What can I learn from this?" Average people wait for opportunities. Successful people create them. Average people complain about the weather. Successful people keep working whether it's raining or shining, because they understand one simple truth. Life doesn't reward excuses. Life rewards execution. Think about the ocean. The waves never stop coming. No matter how many times they crash against the shore, they return again and again and again. Not because they're stronger than the rocks, but because they're more consistent. Eventually, even the hardest rock begins to change. Consistency has that kind of power. Imagine applying that same consistency to your own life. Imagine refusing to miss your workout. Imagine refusing to break the promises you make to yourself. Imagine reading every single day. Imagine choosing growth every single morning. Where would you be a year from now? Where would you be 5 years from now? The answer isn't impossible to imagine. You'd become someone unrecognizable. Not because your face changed, but because your mindset changed. Your habits changed. Your standards changed. And when your standards change, your life follows. Successful people don't have easier lives. They simply have higher standards. Their standard is showing up. Their standard is honesty. Their standard is discipline. Their standard is continuous improvement. Standards create identity. Identity creates behavior. Behavior creates results. Everything begins with what you decide is acceptable. If you're willing to accept average effort, you'll live an average life. If you're willing to accept excuses, you always find new ones. But if your standard becomes excellence, even when nobody is watching, your entire future begins to shift. The greatest competition you'll ever face isn't another person. It's the voice inside your own head. The voice that says, "Skip today. Nobody will notice. You can start next week. You've already failed before." That voice has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. Don't negotiate with it. Don't argue with it. Replace it with action. Action silences doubt. Action builds belief. Action creates momentum. Every time you take action despite fear, you prove to yourself that fear is not in control. And every time you repeat that process, your confidence grows stronger. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you earn. One difficult decision at a time. One uncomfortable conversation at a time. One disciplined morning at a time. You earn it. Slowly, quietly, powerfully. There will be seasons when progress feels invisible. You'll put in the work, but nothing seems to change. Those seasons test your character. Because anyone can work hard when results come quickly. Very few people can remain committed when success is invisible. Become one of those people. Trust the process. Trust the habits. Trust the discipline. Most importantly, trust yourself. Because every challenge you're facing today is preparing you for a future version of yourself that doesn't exist yet. The pain you're carrying is building strength. The rejection you're experiencing is building resilience. The uncertainty you're living through is building wisdom. Nothing is wasted. Every experience is shaping you. Every setback is teaching you. Every obstacle is training you. One day, you'll realize that the hardest moments of your life were actually the moments that built the strongest version of you. And when that day comes, you'll stop asking, "Why did this happen?" You'll start saying, "I'm grateful it happened, because without those struggles, you would have never discovered your strength. Without those failures, you would have never developed discipline. Without those disappointments, you would have never learned resilience." Sometimes, life doesn't give you what you want, because it's preparing you for something greater than what you imagined. So keep going, even when the path feels lonely, even when progress feels slow, even when nobody understands your vision, because the greatest transformations always happen in silence, long before the world notices, long before the applause, long before the success. First, you become the person, then the results appear. And when they do, people will call you lucky. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was every early morning, every late night, every difficult choice, every sacrifice, every promise you kept to yourself, brick by brick, day by day. You built a life that once existed only in your imagination. And that is how ordinary people become extraordinary.